So we had Sony's State of Play, or as some people are saying, Sony's State of Lame. Well, welcome everyone to the Dr. Blue Duck channel, a channel for gaming dads and of course everyone else as well. So Wolverine was shown at Sony State of Play and it was pretty cool. I mean, it's what we were kind of expecting, a manly game where you play as Wolverine going around and just slicing everything into pieces. It's a game that a lot of people are excited about and we saw some gameplay there and it looks like a pretty good game. I mean, it looks pretty awesome. The graphics are superb. It looks legit. It looks like a next generation game. And since this is a gaming dad channel, as a man, I like the game. It looks awesome. But as a gaming dad, I'm a little bit concerned because this game is gory. I mean, if you look at Wolverine, he's constantly covered in blood. And just the way that Wolverine fights, I mean, he literally takes his claws and slices through human flesh, ripping them into pieces. So not a game that I want my 6-year-old little boy or my 2-year-old little boy to see. I don't think my wife wants to see that either. So this is one of those games that's, being a man, I'm interested in playing, but being a dad, I don't know if I'm going to spend that much money to buy this game when this is a game that I'm not going to really be playing in front of the boys. And I don't want to knock Wolverine at all because Wolverine is a real man's hero. I mean, he is not weak at all. He is strong. He heals well and he lets nothing stop him. But I wouldn't really recommend playing this game as a gaming dad in front of kids. So be cautious if you're going to get it. Now, another kind of interesting game that was shown was the game Eel. Do you guys remember back in high school, if you're about my age, and around 1995 to 1999, where all the cool kids started saying eel instead of cool or sick? They were saying, dude, that's eel. I don't know, maybe that was just my high school, but there's a game called Eel and it is also like way gory. Now this game is way more gory than Wolverine and it's kind of weird because the trailer shows some censoring out of some male genitalia and I don't want to see that. There's a lot of stuff I don't want to see, but a dude's junk, especially some dead zombie dude's junk, I don't want to see that. I don't want it in my video games. Even though this game does look interesting, it is incredibly gory, but it's kind of like Cyberpunk 2077. I purchased that game, I started playing it, and of course, right when you create your character, it shows dude's junk. I don't want to see dude's junk. I don't think you want to see other dude's junk. So what I did was I actually talked Nintendo into doing a refund on that game. I got my full money back because I only played it for like 10 minutes and it was showing dude's junk. And I want to be clear, I don't want to see any dude's junk in a movie or a video game, nothing. Don't try to throw that in there. Don't try to sneak that in there. It's just weird. So for the same reasons, I returned to Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not going to buy Eel, even though the game looks like it has some pretty high quality graphics. It's just not what I'm about. I'm sure it's not what you're about either. And it's definitely not a game that you want your little kids to be walking by seeing daddy playing. Then there was Until Dawn 2, which seems pretty interesting. The storyline seems interesting, but then again, since this is a gaming dad channel, it's a super bloody slasher game that you don't want to be playing in front of little kids. So I want to say this, PlayStation, what is up? Are you like obsessed with just blood and gore and dead bodies and dudes junk? What's going on, PlayStation? That's so many games are just so highly inappropriate for young kids. And this does something to our society, even for teen kids as well. Teenagers, especially guys, are still very impressionable. And if they're spending hours and hours and hours playing all these games where people are just ripping up flesh and there's dead bodies being torn apart, I mean, that desensitizes people to go out and possibly do some pretty corrupt things. So when we read the news and we think, man, how would a human being do something like that to another human? And we hear about these grotesque stories. Well, some of these kids that don't have father figures at home are playing these games where they're ripping up flesh for hours on end, and it gets in their minds. And then you add some drugs, you add some mental health issues, and yeah, we have a formula for some seriously corrupt behavior. Then there's Onimusha, Way of the Sword, which seemed okay. Now, I'm not a huge Onimusha fan. I can remember back to my buddy Sean playing the first Onimusha game. I think it was called Warlords. It was on the PlayStation 2. I have this distinct memory where he was playing through a puzzle on that game while I was sitting at my PC playing Blade of Darkness. You guys remember that game? It was pretty cool. And there's a new Tomb Raider game, Legacy of Atlantis. Now, I never really got into the Tomb Raider series, and it's funny because I've been talking to my buddy Thomas. Thomas, if you're listening to this, what's up, my bro? We've been talking about this at church on Sunday mornings. You see, he is cool with playing games where the protagonist is a female, where you're running around as a female. And for me, I just never enjoyed playing games where you are a female, because for me, gaming was this kind of role-playing experience where I almost like to pretend that I was the character and I was that figure walking around. So when that figure had hips and breasts, I didn't really want to put myself in that position pretending to be that character. So for me, I always just kept away from female protagonist games. I'm not against them at all. I just personally don't like to play them, but I don't know. You guys like playing as a girl? So speaking about playing as a girl, one game that actually looked kind of legit, God of War, Le Fay, or I guess the right way to say it is Leve. She's the wife and mother who's actually dead at the beginning of the 2018 God of War game. But this is a new game, and she awakes in the afterlife called Everwind, and she has to fight through it, hoping to get back to her family. Now, I'm really curious to hear what happens, but I'm probably going to have to wait until 2027 or later to find out. I have this feeling the writers of the game are going to make it where she doesn't get to come back to life, but she does get to come to say goodbye to her husband and son. I don't want that to be the ending. I want the ending for her to be able to fight everything she has to fight in the Everwind and come back to be with her family, but I just don't think the game's going to end that way. Let's go back to this video sometime in 2027 or 2028 and see if my prediction is correct. And then there's Dune Awakening. I think they needed to call the game Awakening because the trailer almost put people to sleep. I mean, yes, there are a few people out there who actually want this game, I know, but I wish all this time and money and efforts would have been spent on a game that wasn't in a desert. I mean, being in the deserts for the whole game, it's just, no, no. The Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered looks pretty decent. Honestly, I get my arcade style hack and slash feel from games like Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm just kind of more connected to those characters instead of the characters from Dynasty Warriors, but it still seems like a pretty good game, and I wouldn't mind picking it up if it goes on sale someday. Now, Rayman seems like a nice family-friendly game for gaming dads, but who out there has been asking for a new Rayman game? I mean, who out there is talking about Rayman? And if you think about like popular video game characters, you think of like Sonic, you think of Mario, you think of Master Chief, you think of Cloud, you think of Samus, but not too many people think of Rayman. It's just not a game that I inwardly yearn for, but we're getting one anyways. Rayman Legends Retold. Now, I don't want to put down this game because it actually seems like a good game, especially a good game for us gaming dads. So I think my 6-year-old would really like this game, and I might actually get it. Stuntman Hollywood seems to be an interesting game. I mean, it's a cinematic stunt driving action game where you play as a Hollywood stunt driver, not some main action hero, the actual stunt driver. So for all those years, all the stunt drivers out there and stuntmen that didn't get the credits that they deserved, this is their time to shine. Now, my family, we used to have seasons passes to Universal Studios Hollywood, and we loved going. My sons really loved the Mario Land area. I mean, shoot, I really loved the Mario Land area as well. I think my wife did too. She kind of looks like Princess Peach. So I don't know if I would say that I'm interested in this game. I'm more curious about this game, especially seeing some of my favorite cars from the 80s, like the Back to the Future DeLorean and Kit from Knight Rider. And it's kind of crazy that right now in 2026, we really have self-driving cars like Knight Rider. Now, there is a game where I was like, hey, I have to get that game as a gaming dad. And that game is Toy Story 3 Complete Edition. It's a third-person action-adventure game featuring Buzz, Woody, and other characters from Toy Story. And I think this will be a great game to play in the living room with my 2 little boys. The trailer shows co-op gameplay, space exploration, and a large-scale toy world environment with a toy box mode. Hey, that's fun, right? I know my older son will love building in that. And this is going to be releasing on October 15th, 2026. Also releasing on the same date is Toy Story Retro Roundup, which is a good collection of multiple Toy Story games. And it includes a Bug's Life game as well, which, I guess that makes sense since they're both made by Pixar, but Pixar makes a lot of movies, so I don't know. It's kind of random at the same time. I like Monsters, Inc. way more, so I kind of wish there was like a Monsters, Inc. game included in that instead. But hey, it still looks pretty good. So I'm laughing right now because in the other room, my 2-year-old son is yelling, "I love daddy." And you can probably hear him right now in the background. So I don't know. That's just funny. I'm trying to record a video here and he's just yelling, "I love daddy" in the background. So I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not going to even take it out of this video. So anyways, what I really would have liked to have seen is Halo Campaign Evolved, but it wasn't shown. So anyways, I would love to hear about what games you guys are planning on getting from the state of play, if any at all. So anyways, be kind, use your mind, and game on.